It made him $15 billion, a legend on Wall Street, and he was immortalized in books and movies like The Big Short. John Paulson's bet against the subprime mortgage bubble in 2008 has gone down in history as the greatest trade ever. Now, the renegade billionaire is preparing to do it again. Only this time, it has nothing to do with housing. Instead, he's quietly piling $110 million into a tiny gold stock that almost nobody knows about. And I not only know why, but how you can position yourself in what I truly believe will go down as the greatest gold trade ever. A trade that could make Paulson billions more than he made in 2008, while making early investors like you who follow along 12,500% or more. I'm Gerardo Del Real, the founder and editor of Junior Resource Monthly, one of the top natural resource investment research advisories in the world. I've been able to make millions for myself and my members with little-known opportunities in the gold space by leveraging my vast network of inside connections. It's how I uncovered a tiny miner in California named K2 Gold that was on the verge of a high-grade gold discovery. I recommended it to my readers, and K2 Gold Corp soared for 592% gains in less than 7 months, enough to quickly turn $10,000 into $69,200. It's also how I discovered Magna Gold, a company that was revitalizing an old gold mine in Sonora with the backing of a Mexican billionaire. It delivered 768% gains in just over a year, enough to turn $10,000 into $86,800. And then there was Nevada Sunrise, a stock I recommended that generated 1,450% gains as it drilled into a mountain of gold southeast of Reno, enough to turn $10,000 into $155,000 in just 5 months. Not a bad payday being able to turn $30,000 from those 3 plays into $311,000. I've shown my readers gains like these on gold and other resource stocks time and again. And I say none of this to brag, only to make clear the enormity of the claim I'm about to make. This gold mine I'm going to share with you today is poised to eclipse every single one of these big home runs and beat them by a landslide. You see, I've been at the center of this story as it unfolded over the last 8 years. I visited the mine not once, but twice. I've interviewed the execs and everyone involved. My colleague, friend, and business partner, Mr. Nick Hodge, he even chopped it up with Mr. Paulson at an investing conference in Puerto Rico, of all places. Because of all of this groundwork, I know why the billionaire keeps adding millions upon millions to his position. Why he now owns 40% of the company's shares. And why he's betting more than he did on the collapse of subprime mortgages. You see, Paulson now believes a crisis much bigger and more fundamental than 2008 is about to unfold. A shift in money and power that will be totally irreversible. In a recent interview, which actually got very little fanfare, he mentions 3 cracks forming in the American system. Combined, they could trigger a gold panic, a shift from fiat money to bullion. They include the end of the dollar's hegemony, as the BRICS seek to challenge American power by replacing the dollar with other currencies, including, of course, gold. The central bank gold buying frenzy, as global central banks replace a record amount of dollars with gold. The end of the American empire, as our allies like Israel are besieged. Russia gains power in Europe, and our military withdrawals from critical strategic locations like Afghanistan. These catalysts are all converging to create the perfect storm for gold. That's why Paulson concludes, so you'd be better off keeping your investment reserves in gold at this point. But what he didn't mention is how he's buying those gold reserves. And it's not bullion, big miners like Barrick, or even futures. He's moving in on one virtually unknown tiny gold stock instead. And he has history on his side. It's 1974. Everything that Paulson now sees unfolding is only just beginning. The declining American empire. America lost the war in Vietnam, suffering irreparable damage to our global reputation. Central bank gold buying. Central banks were exchanging record amounts of dollars for gold. The decline of dollar power. As the Nixon shock depegged the dollar from gold, sparking hyperinflation, it was the same perfect storm for gold then as it is now. As a result, gold panic set in, sending the spot price soaring from $35 to $850 by the end of the 1970s. A 2,300% gain just for holding yellow metal. But select tiny gold stocks did much, much better, soaring 100 times or higher. Some of the unbelievable winners of that decade included NRD Mining, up 38,200%, Silverstack Mines, up 36,000%, and Banner Resources, up 32,000%. These were companies that hit gold and precious metals windfalls, just as the price of gold was going parabolic. That's how they returned some of the biggest and fastest gains in history. Gains that are still talked about to this day. That's the power of a gold supercycle like the one starting to unfold now. And it's why Paulson's number one gold stock is about to eclipse them all. Even if his thesis on America is wrong, even if none of his predictions come true, this gold stock is poised to be a tenfold or 100-fold winner regardless, because it's quietly made what will soon go down as the gold discovery of a century. Why is this John Paulson's number one gold stock? You see, I've been to this company's gold site multiple times. I've scoured the property like any explorer, leaving no stone unturned. And just like John Paulson, I know how much gold this mine actually holds. I know about the quality of the gold, which is among the highest grade, cheapest, and cleanest to extract in America. And perhaps more importantly, I know about an imminent government announcement that's set to fast-track this mine to full production, unleash the largest gold mining boom in recent memory, and launch this company's share price from $4 to $14 to $40. This announcement is scheduled to occur by the end of June 2024. So there isn't a lot of time to waste. In a moment, you'll see how to act quickly and position yourself for the biggest windfall of 2024. You'll see how the government has already tipped its hand on exactly what will happen. And with someone as connected as Paulson is, you can be sure that he's left nothing to chance. Plus, you'll see how the last time I saw a similar setup, my readers had the opportunity for a 10,800% windfall. But first, how do Paulson and I know this when, frankly, nobody else does? The largest gold mine in America is about to come online, and nobody knows about it. In the deep wilderness of Idaho, about 3 hours from any airport, is a gold discovery that is unparalleled by anything in America. And nobody's paying it any attention. Officially, the company reports it has 6 million ounces of gold in the ground. And that alone makes it a massive gold mine. But I have every reason to believe that they are dramatically understating their actual reserves. Why do that? It's simple. Mines with 5 or 6 million ounces of gold are much easier to get approved. Fewer official reserves means fewer loopholes, less waiting time, and less regulatory hassle. The company has every reason to keep the true scale of its gold quiet for now, at least quiet to the public. So this is a big wink wink to investors. And when I visited the site myself, my suspicions were immediately confirmed. I explored the property and I saw gold everywhere. Let me rephrase. In the span of miles, not a single area was not brimming with the yellow metal. In fact, get this, when the company tried to find a place to build the processing facility, they kept hitting gold everywhere they wanted to put it. So how much gold is really there? Based on my own observations and some informal resource estimates, I believe there are actually 20 million ounces of gold in total, which would make it a world-class find worth $40 billion, and one of the biggest, if not the biggest, gold mine in America. And it's not owned by billion-dollar gold giants like Newmont or Kinross. Instead, this project is 100% owned by a tiny miner that almost nobody can name, and it trades for just $4 a share. The number of ounces is just one half of the story. This gold is cheaper to mine than almost any in America. One of the highest grade forms of open pitable gold, incredibly easy to extract with minimal environmental impact. Plus, as you'll see in a moment, approval for permitting is now virtually guaranteed. It ticks every single box for a gold discovery that makes investors rich. I've been watching this company since 2015. It's jumped through one regulatory hoop after another. Soon, though, the final hurdle will be cleared, paving a path for this project to come online and become a billion-dollar world-class gold mine. That hurdle is the government's decision to permit the project, and they've already tipped their hand in several ways. Government hand tip number one: why the Pentagon is backing this mine. For starters, the Pentagon has rewarded this company with tens of millions of dollars in funding. Not just once, but twice. Why would the military care about a gold mine? Because the site is home to not only gold, but a mineral that defense brass calls a critical strategic metal and essential to national defense as a key component of munitions. This is why the site was first mined 100 years ago, to produce the mineral for the military to help win World War II. And its applications for the military include missile guidance, jet engine covers, infrared detectors, thermal imaging cameras. The list goes on and on. Forbes calls it the most important mineral you never heard of. I'm talking about antimony. We once depended entirely on China for this mineral. But when Japan invaded China in 1936, we lost our supply and the American military was in dire need. Fortunately, America had its own domestic source that could step up and fill the void. This mine. It single-handedly supplied 90% of America's antimony needs in World War II, and thankfully kept our arsenal for democracy intact, enabling us to win the war. Now here's the thing, history is about to repeat itself. Currently, there is no American-made source of antimony, and we are entirely dependent on foreign sources once again, just as we were before World War II. In fact, 70% of the world's supply now comes from China. The problem is, not only is China running short on supply, but geopolitical tensions are accelerating on multiple fronts, particularly in Taiwan. A congressional committee expressed concern that recent geopolitical dynamics with Russia and China could accelerate supply chain disruptions, particularly with antimony. In layman's terms, a single crisis could cut off our antimony imports overnight, and America's military would have nowhere else to turn. In short, the Pentagon needs a domestic source of this metal right now, and they're desperate to secure a supply. According to Defense News, the key news source of the U.S. military, antimony is on the front lines of congressional efforts to shore up the national defense stockpile. In other words, Congress wants antimony now, and tons of it. This is why the Defense Department is awarding millions to this company. It's why this mine is virtually guaranteed to get approval and come online. And I know for a fact the feds have already been there to scope it out. It's not just a matter of all the gold riches. It's a matter of national security. Ask yourself, why would the government reward them tens of millions of dollars twice for something they plan on not approving? They wouldn't. And that's just the beginning. Government hand tip number two: Paulson's Forever battery will put this mine at the center of Biden's $369 billion energy agenda. You see, antimony's applications don't end with the military. It's at the center of the next big battery breakthrough. One backed with a $144 million investment from Bill Gates and John Paulson himself. Yes, Paulson is double dipping in this project's potential. So how does this work? Unlike current batteries that are made of lithium and graphite with a liquid electrode, this new battery is 100% liquid, and it's composed of 3 different elements: calcium, molten salt, and, you guessed it, antimony, each in a layer stacked atop the other. As the battery discharges power, the layers fuse together. Then during charging, they separate again. Think of it like a salad dressing with oil and vinegar. When you shake the bottle, they form a single dressing, and then afterwards, they separate again. The incredible part is, because the electrode reforms itself with each charge, the battery never degrades. This is why it is significantly longer lasting. In fact, they've tested it over tens of thousands of charging cycles, and after 20 years worth of charging, it's maintained 95% of its capacity. Think about that. 20 years and the battery is still running like new. And all for a fraction of the cost of same-sized batteries. This Forever battery is rolling out now and backed by Bill Gates. Unlike so many of its hyped competitors, this Forever battery is actually well into production. It's already rolling out of the factory and will be deployed to the grid in the coming months. Microsoft has even tested the battery itself and has a big order in. And this gold company is at the center of it all. They've pledged enough antimony to power 13 gigawatts of battery storage. That's 8 times more than all of America's energy storage in the year 2020. Good enough to power the entire state of California. The government is fully committed to this project. In his so-called Inflation Reduction Act, Biden set aside $369 billion for American production of clean energy minerals. So the government has every reason to kickstart this mine. Its clean energy agenda, military needs, independence from China. This mine meets all of those needs, which is why approval is practically in the bag. But I still haven't told you the biggest part of the story. Government hand tip number 3, the EPA and U.S. Wildlife Service applaud this company's work. The EPA is under a court order to protect salmon from polluted waters, which is what makes this project so critical. It's near a pivotal stream for salmon, bull trout, and other fish populations in Idaho. In the past, a hydro dam in the area collapsed, allowing sediment seep into the river, which blocked the migration of salmon. So far, the EPA has already spent $4 million on cleaning the site up, but with little to show for it. Now it's preparing for a major turnaround, and this miner is leading the way. They plan to restore the old salmon stream, repair sediment deposits on the stream, and they're spending millions to clean up metal leaching from the prior operators. These efforts will improve the water quality and temperature all around, so they're leaving the environment in even better shape than they found it. Long story short, this project is actually a win for the environment, which is why the EPA backs these efforts. According to a statement from the agency, EPA has an ongoing role and interest in ensuring the integrity of the agency's past Superfund cleanup and stabilization work in the area. And that's just for starters. By June 30, 2024, the U.S. Forest Service will vote to permit the project. It's the last hurdle to clear before this site becomes a fully permitted mine to operate. And as I've just shown you, they've already tipped their hand. The U.S. Forest Service recently highlighted the project's benefits, such as the improvements of the water quality and river habitat. They even called the company's plan a preferred alternative to leaving the area as is. In other words, the government is calling this potential mine a net benefit to the environment. This statement essentially green-lighted approval. It's one reason John Paulson is so heavily invested. When this happens, the veil will finally be lifted, and this company and its mine will be put on the map. Hailed by the world's top gold mining experts, Early investors who act before then could reap windfalls as this stock launches from $4 to $20 to $40 and beyond. How high could it go exactly? Well, they don't just have the largest independent gold reserve in America, they will also run one of the lowest cost operating gold mines in all of America, with each ounce costing approximately $438 to mine. At today's gold price, that makes each ounce worth around $1,500 in profit on paper. That means we can value the 20 million ounces I think the company has at $30 billion. Given this company's market cap of a mere $230 million, we're talking about just over 12,500% upside. It sounds crazy, but it's happened in past gold bull markets, where companies soared 100 and even 300-fold in a few years. Remember those gains from the 1970s gold bull run I showed you earlier? NRD Mining, 38,200%. Silverstack Mines, 36,000%. Banner Resources, 32,000%. Those kinds of gains will be possible again as we enter the next super cycle. I'm talking about a historic gold boom unlike anything seen since the 70s or the 2000s. A cycle so powerful that it will launch gold stocks for 1,000% across the board, but this one tiny miner above them all. For all the reasons that Paulson sees coming. Billionaires are buying into gold hand over fist. Ray Dalio, who's worth $19.1 billion, warns that Biden's inflation will send America back to the 70s. So when that happens, you want things that are basically anti-money. You want gold. Naheeb Sawiris, who's worth $3.4 billion, says 20 to 30% of your portfolio should be in gold for a very good reason. Let's say inflation comes in and there is a crash in the stock market for one reason or the other. Then you will be very happy you have a position in gold. Central banks around the world have been shopping for gold, no holds barred, buying a record 399 tons in 2022. That's the highest gold buying rate in 80 years, and it's just the beginning. The trend is obvious. The world's biggest economies are preparing to go even bigger. The BRICS nations, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, are all considering a new gold-backed currency. That's right, a new gold standard. For the first time since Nixon depegged the dollar from gold, gold is about to retake center stage in the world economy. Except it won't be the dollar that's involved at all this time. It's a total rearrangement of the global order. The tables are turning. Everything is up in the air, but gold will be the ultimate winner wherever things land. Russia is already ahead of the game. When the US sanctioned Russia, Putin wasn't worried at all. He'd spent the last decade preparing for this moment. How? By buying an asset that is untraceable, liquid, and immobile. No, not cryptos, gold. First, Russia needed to stabilize the ruble, and so they pegged the currency to gold. Second, they went on a buying spree, adding 28 million tons of gold. And finally, Russia is moving to sell oil and other commodities for gold. The last move would cement a whole new era of global commerce, one with the US dollar no longer at the center. It's beyond countries or banks. Everyday Americans are joining the frenzy as the dollar weakens daily. When Costco began selling 1-ounce gold bars in 2023, they sold out in hours. And then again and again. They can hardly keep them on the shelves. Gold buying in China is happening at a frenetic pace. They just set a world record for a gold premium of $100 per ounce, meaning the Chinese are already paying $100 over the spot price. And that's with gold near all-time high prices. Gold has never been more expensive in China. In fact, gold is hitting record high prices in multiple currencies. But the biggest catalyst of all is the most unfortunate. Look at the world right now. It's on fire. Israel and Palestine, Ukraine and Russia, China and Taiwan. Global turmoil is accelerating. The American empire has lost its grip. We're closer to World War than at any point since 1945. And look, nobody wants to see this happen. Nobody wants war, especially not world war. But this is the reality. And while you and I can't stop it, we can prepare, protect ourselves, and profit from it all. Nothing does that better than gold. But no matter what happens to the spot price, Major discoveries like the one I've shared with you today are practically immune to any downside in gold. Past gold discoveries minted new millionaires, no matter what the price of gold is doing. Consider the case of Arequipa Resources. It owned the Pierina property in Peru, one of the most important gold discoveries in South America. In the 1990s, drilling results uncovered a shocking 5 million ounces of gold. Arequipa traded for a few pennies, but was quickly bought out by Barrick Gold for over $30 a share. This was in the 1990s, during one of the worst gold markets of the past 50 years. In 1996, while Arequipa was making its run, gold actually lost 8% and was trading for under $400 per ounce. So let's do a little math. Barrick bought Arequipa for $800 million. And this Idaho gold site has potentially 4 times the amount of gold as their discovery, while gold is trading at 5 times the price and flirting with new highs. The result? An equivalent buyout would be nearly $16 billion today. That's a near 7,000% gain. Or consider the Timok copper gold deposit of 2012. It was the copper discovery of the decade and the biggest in European history. The miner that owned it, Reservoir Minerals, quickly surged for unbelievable returns. In just 4 short years, it skyrocketed for 12,000% gains. And that was just for starters. Even during the gold bear market of the 2010s, its shares continued soaring over and over. Finally, it was bought out for a handsome premium. All told, you could have seen 32,000% gains had you seen this coming and bought in early. That's good enough to turn every $1,000 invested into $321,000 and every $5,000 invested into $1.6 million. Then there's the historic Voisey's Bay discovery in Labrador, Canada. In 1995, exploration turned up the largest and lowest cost nickel deposit in the world. The company that owned it, Diamond Fields, soared for the biggest and fastest gains on record. At just 10 cents a share, 12 months later, it surged past $200 before being bought out by Inco. That's a 200,000% gain in a single year. All of Diamond Fields' early investors became fantastically rich, no matter how much they invested. And now, history is about to repeat itself, this time with America's biggest gold mine. Remember, I'm only privy to this mine's real wealth because of my insider contacts, my boots-on-the-ground visits to the mining site in Idaho, and my personal contacts with billionaire John Paulson, the company's single biggest investor. Few outside of a very well-connected group of mining gurus have even heard of this company. Almost nobody knows of its real wealth, but that won't last much longer. Once details of this mine's reserves go public, and they have to, this tiny miner will begin a breathtaking ride. The kind not seen since Diamond Field surged for 200,000% gains in a single year. Overnight, the major gold giants could begin the bidding war of a lifetime, driving shares up to $14, $20, perhaps past $40. Why wait to buy it later when shares are above $10 or even $40 when you can buy right now for just $4? To get you started immediately, I've compiled a full dossier on this ground floor opportunity called The Greatest Gold Trade Ever, America's Next 100-Bagger Gold Discovery. Here's a quick preview of what it includes. The name and ticker symbol of the $4 company with complete ownership of the mine. Thorough company profile based on my boots-on-the-ground investigation, including intel you won't find on CNBC or even in industry journals. Exclusive off-the-cuff footage of my visit to the mining site, including interviews with the executives and geologists. The 20 million ounce gold reserve, why it's certain and why nobody is privy to it. The imminent catalyst that will launch this project to a fully operational gold mine. Best of all, I've decided to give this report to anyone who's interested, totally free of charge. The last time I saw a setup like this, readers saw 10,800% returns. It was June 2021 when I learned about a lithium discovery in the St. James Bay district of Quebec. With the world in the grips of electric vehicle fever, the spot price of lithium had tripled from below $10,000 per ton that year to over $30,000 per ton. And lithium stocks in Quebec soared for the biggest gains of all. gains of 1,250%, 2,000%, and 3,100% in just a year. But unlike those companies, this discovery was the real deal. I got my readers in the company behind it, Patriot Battery Metals, when it was only 16 cents a share. And as they say, the rest was history. All told, shares went up as much as 10,800% from my initial recommendation. Good enough to turn $10,000 into a $1,090,000 windfall. And readers of mine got rich. I tell you all this to help you understand the gravity of what I'm about to say next. This gold discovery I'm sharing with you today has all of the same indicators as that of Patriot Battery Metals. I'm talking about a hidden discovery worth billions more than people know. A booming, hot resource market, gold. A government that now wants this mine to go online. Big-time investors and government officials lining up behind it. A major catalyst that will reveal its true holdings. Every indicator that told me Patriot Battery Metals would be a major home run, only with one difference. At 12,500%, my calculations show this tiny stock could be worth even more. And when you claim your free report today, I'll also share with you my findings about an additional profit opportunity I've uncovered that could result in similar life-changing gains. Bonus report number 1, the next big crystal lithium discovery will ignite another 100-bagger opportunity. A new discovery is rapidly unfolding in the James Bay region of Quebec, only a stone's throw away from where Patriot made its lithium discovery and made my readers 10,800% gains. This discovery has identical qualities in every way. Just consider, the property comes from the same vendor as Patriot Battery Metals, in the same red-hot Quebec lithium district, with the exact same kind of lithium geology, and the same high-grade quality ore. It ticks every single box. This site in particular has 5 miles of discovered lithium pegmatites, and sampling shows up to an astounding 2.65% lithium per ton. That's equivalent to Patriot's early results. Financing is in place. Exploration for this new project is underway. It's not a question of if there is lithium, it's a question of how much. So far, based on the historic studies and preliminary sampling, the project looks on par with Patriot's discovery, and some insiders believe it could have even more lithium. Once the numbers confirm this is anywhere near remotely true, the stock could easily double overnight. And it won't stop there because the first phase of results will only show the tip of the iceberg. If the drill bit continues to hit, shares should climb higher with each new result. Then a resource estimate will be released that shows the full potential of the project. At that point, the company can decide to do the economic studies needed to head to production. Or a buyer could materialize to buy the whole project. One catalyst after another is set to take shares higher. That's what happens when you have a winning discovery. And in every way that matters, it's identical to the biggest lithium discovery of the decade. It may sound crazy to say that another 10,800% winner is in the cards here, but even half of those gains could turn a stake of $5,000 into over $250,000. Even lesser lithium stocks in Quebec have soared that high, and they didn't have anything close to what this company does. I think we're set up for a total repeat of the Patriot Battery Metals story, and I want you to act fast while it's still ground floor. I want you positioned for the absolute biggest and best gains while the time is still ripe. So to get you started, I've compiled all the details on the next big energy discovery of the decade. It's all in my new briefing, Crystal Lithium, the quest for the next 100-bagger battery gains. You'll get this report along with your first report, the greatest gold trade ever, America's next 100-bagger gold discovery, the moment you start a risk-free test drive of my flagship resource investing newsletter, Junior Resource Monthly. I promise that it's unlike any other investment research you've ever seen. And check this out. I'll also give you a report on a tiny gold company that allows you to capture both the upside of a gold bull market and generate a steady income stream. Bonus opportunity number 2, the royalty of gold. Imagine the opportunity to make 10 times your money on a gold boom, while earning cold, hard cash on every ounce of gold produced from some of the world's biggest mines, like Barrick Gold's Cortez mine in the Carlin Gold Belt of Nevada, the world's #2 largest mine. This is possible thanks to a special mineral rights opportunity, one that requires the world's biggest companies to pay you royalties with the single click of a button. And you just need $5 to get started. Why royalties? They're historically the fastest, safest, and easiest way to get rich on gold. Just look at any of the famous gold fortunes in history, like Sam Brannan, who sparked the California gold rush. He famously got rich by collecting income from other people's work, selling claims while retaining a profit right to a portion of whatever was mined. To this day, royalty companies are the single best performing class of gold stocks, routinely outperforming mid-tier and senior gold producers. So whether gold tears to $3,000 like Bank of America has predicted, or even higher to $7,000 as the hedge fund QB Partners forecast, or if they're both wrong and gold stays flat, you make money regardless. I've compiled all of the details on this opportunity into a brand new report, The Royalty of Gold. You'll get it along with the 2 other special reports I've already mentioned, totally free of charge, the moment you start a test drive of Junior Resource Monthly. Here's everything you'll receive when you try out Junior Resource Monthly. If the prospect of making up to 10 times your money and earning royalties from the gold company I just mentioned sounds exciting, if you'd like the chance to make 5,000% gains with the next big lithium discovery, or if you'd like the opportunity to turn $10,000 into $1,250,000 by investing in the gold discovery of the century and literally change your life by becoming a one-stock millionaire, then you'll want to get on my private email list today by subscribing to Junior Resource Monthly. Because once you get started, you'll immediately receive all 3 special investor reports I mentioned in this presentation. Plus, you'll also receive 12 monthly issues of Junior Resource Monthly. Each issue is packed with financial research, profit opportunities, and market insights you won't find anywhere else. Each month, I will provide you with hidden, little-known opportunities that could turn small stakes of money into big paydays. Plus, you'll also receive access to my archives with additional profit opportunities for free. 24/7 access to my model portfolio. This includes all of my open investment recommendations, so you can pick and choose how you want to diversify your portfolio to generate maximum financial gains in the minimum amount of time. Flash alerts, immediate updates when needed. Access to my natural resource wealth library. This growing collection of special investor reports will provide you with additional profit opportunities in natural resource stocks that few analysts report on or have even heard of, that could provide you the chance to scoop up shares weeks or even months before stock prices soar upwards. A dedicated customer service team. If you ever have any questions about your subscription to Junior Resource Monthly, you can simply give one of our team members a call or send them an email, and they will walk you through whatever you need. So how much does a membership to Junior Resource Monthly cost? I think it's insanely cheap, especially considering all the time, money, and effort that goes into this research. In many cases, I've spent years following the activities of these geologists before I recommend their companies. Because you simply can't do this work by just staring at a computer screen. It takes a lot of time flying to remote places, staying in isolated locations, and then spending months tracking their developments. Plus the countless hours I spend compiling all the data for my clients. And if you're ready for a more sophisticated approach to investing in these junior mining companies, you won't find another service like this anywhere else in the industry. It's entirely unique, not to mention the potentially huge returns these recommendations could generate. I've seen similar publishers charge $1,000 for a year of access to their research, and none of them do nearly the amount of groundwork that I do. But we want a price that allows more folks to profit from this research. So, regular access to Junior Resource Monthly costs $399 a year. And at that price, I believe it's an absolute bargain. However, as part of this limited time offer, you can pay just half. So when you get started today, you'll get everything you've seen for the discounted price of just $199 per year. You could take your savings and invest it in the gold stock in my special report, alongside John Paulson, and have the chance to watch it grow to over $25,000 in a year's time, just like investors did with gold stocks during the last super cycle. I only ask that if you invest in the companies I've discovered and recommended and make big profits, you'll write in and share your success story, just like Oscar M., who said, I got in at 36 cents US with just 5,000. Needless to say, that's currently 140,000 in profit. Or William, who wrote in saying, just want to say how excited I am to have bought around $3.50. OMG, I've made over $75,000 in profits since the beginning of the year. Or George F., who said, thank you, Mr. Del Real. Thank you. Since using your publication, my portfolio is rapidly advancing. This is truly a dream unfolding. Thank you for your publications based on hard work and something that today is hard to find, your honesty and integrity. That honesty and integrity starts immediately because I give every new member a 100% risk-free guarantee. If at any time over the next 2 months you're not satisfied with my research, simply contact our customer service team and you'll be refunded every penny you paid for this service. No questions asked. I stand behind every recommendation I make because it's often what I'm doing with my own money. And if I'm not making money, then my members aren't making money. That's why I can confidently offer each new member of Junior Resource Monthly a completely risk-free 2-month test drive. Our corporate clients pay us thousands of dollars per month to deliver results that meet their demanding professional standards. But all this is yours today for only $199. And I'm completely guaranteeing your satisfaction for a full 2 months. Just click on the button below to get started. This once-in-a-lifetime opportunity is yours for the taking. I urge you to take advantage of it today.